Hello, Silver Stackers. This is Mike the Burge from the Ultimate Guide to Chasing.com, and I'm here to talk to you today about a story. It's exciting and a dire warning at the same time. Any of you folks that are into stacking silver, you've probably heard the saying by now that if you don't own it, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And this is a story of me trying to outsmart the silver market and getting absolutely blasted by this truism. Okay, so let's go to the beginning of the story. Okay, now I first heard about the whole gold and silver thing when I read one of Rich Dad's books. It was the Rich Dad Advisor, Mike Maloney, on gold and silver. And you know, I'm reading about it, and I find that silver is like one of the greatest opportunities of this decade. It's probably going to be as big as the dot-com bubble or the real estate bubble, if things come into fruition the way they should. Okay, that being said, now I'm a little fuzzy on the dates. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it was around 2010 to 2011. It's when silver did the run up to $50, or pretty close to 50, and then just dropped off a cliff. Okay, so I read the book by Mike Maloney. Silver was about $17 an ounce at the time, and I was not making a lot of money. You know, I make more money now than I did then, and I still don't make a lot of money. So, you know, times were pretty tough at the time. So all I could afford to do is buy, you know, 1 or 2 silver eagles a week. And my goal was to have 100 ounces of silver. So, you know, I would go about buying about 2 ounces a week. And during this time, from the time that I started, and my goal was to have 100 ounces, you know, I started out at $17 an ounce, and by the time I got 100 ounces, 13 months later, silver had gone up to $33 an ounce. You know, and this was just in a 13-month period of time. So I'm looking at my 100 ounces of silver, and you know, I'm pleased that you know, the stuff that I bought in the beginning has practically doubled in value. But I'm a little disturbed because, you know, that price movement, there's more money to be made there if you understand how to get leverage on it. And this is the thinking that got me into trouble. So I'm looking at this massive move, and by this time I had read reports other than just Mike Maloney's book, and I had heard a report that silver was going to go to $80 an ounce that year, and I believed it. So that's the bottom line. Is, you know, I jumped in on something that it made total sense to me. So what I did is I sold all of my physical silver, and I think I had a little bit of gold at the time as well. You know, so I sold out of all of it, and I started buying into stock options on SLV. Now, stock options allow you to control a stock for a set period of time. And if things go your way, you get to control the entire profit of that. So, you know, at the time that I sold my gold and silver, I believe, let's see, I was up at about $6,000 at the time. And when I jumped in on the call options, you know, we were at $33 an ounce, and well, silver just kept going up. It went up well over $40 an ounce, and I watched that money double in about 3 weeks. I went from $6,000 to $13,000 in about 3 weeks. And then my plan was working beautifully. I was thinking, oh my God, I found the gravy train. This is awesome. So the next thing that I did is I looked at the out of money call options and realized that had I bought out of the money rather than at the money, that I would have made even more of a profit, because the ROI was just off the charts. It was off the hook. So what I did is I sold out of my at the money $33 an ounce call options, and I bought into way out of the money. It was like $70, a $70 strike price, I believe, or 65. You know, it was far enough out of the money, so I was picking these things up for like a dime a piece. It was crazy. So I ended up controlling, not owning, but controlling over $500,000 worth of silver by using call options. Okay, now what happens is, let's say that $550,000 worth of silver, let's say it went up to $600,000 in a month's time. As long as it doesn't go the other way before my expiration date, at any time I could sell that and get that $50,000 profit in between the 550 and 600,000. I control that stock, so it's mine. As long as I either sell it or exercise the option, you know, before my expiration date comes, it's mine. Now, the thing to understand with call options is that those expiration dates are what make it so risky, because it has to do what you expect it to do within that certain period of time. And I believe I bought it for like 1 year out, I think. So anyways, you know, the main point is it was going up, and for a brief moment I actually got to see the power of what I had done, because this is like 2 days before the crash. Okay, so for 1 day I got to see it go up, and it went up a little bit more. This is right at the peak. You know, it didn't even go up $1. It went up like 10 or 20 cents or something, and I made something ridiculous. It was like about $4,000 or $5,000 in a single day. You know, massive move off from a tiny move in the spot price. So very powerful idea. The only problem is leverage is a double-edged sword, and when Ben Bernanke came out and made his announcement the next day, I was expecting silver to go through the roof, and that's not what happened. Instead, what happened is JP Morgan short sold some ridiculous amount of silver. I believe it was like 1 billion ounces in 1 month. Now, considering that the investment silver supply is only a portion of what we mine a year, and we only mine 750 million ounces that year, you know, only about 100 million of those ounces was for investment, and the rest was for industrial use. I don't have the exact numbers on that, but it's only a small portion of what we mine that goes towards investment, and the rest goes, you know, towards all these industrial uses that we have for silver. So to short sell 1 billion ounces of investment silver is just ridiculous. We're talking years of supply that they short sold in 1 month. And then, to make matters worse, they raised rates in the CME, 5 times in 9 days. And between those actions and some more actions that I'm sure I didn't know that was going on, I didn't know anything about JP Morgan at the time. I didn't know anything about silver manipulation. You know, the bottom line is they squashed it, and it hasn't rebounded since until just recently. So for a short time, I watched about a $3,000 investment go to $18,000. And it was a great ride while it was going on, but in the end, I ended up losing everything because of the manipulation in the market, and they squashed the price of silver, so my options ended up expiring, worthless. So eventually, as you can see here, I got back into stacking. It took me a long time to do it because silver stacking, you're expecting something to happen in the future that you have no control over. And while I believe there's tremendous value in silver, I don't want to lock up all of my money into silver because I have no control over its growth. So you're looking at my stack, it's a decent stack for what I earn. It's pretty humble in comparison to most stacks that I've seen, but as you can see, these are 20 per roll here, so I have 100 ounces of silver here. I got another 11 ounces. I got a little bit of gold. That's a gram a piece, little tiny sunshine mint bars, and then a 1/10 ounce gold eagle. And what you also see here is a bunch of cash and a deck of cards. Okay, now the reason those are there is because it's something that I can control. Okay, I teach card counting, and card counting is all about math and the ability to turn this pile of cash here into larger piles of cash that can allow me to buy more silver, buy real estate, create a business, and have the freedom to live my life on my terms. So the moral of the story here, is definitely, don't go out and try to outsmart the market, because ultimately there's going to be things that you can't possibly foresee that's going to happen. These guys, the bankers that are in control of everything, that they're pulling out all the stops, and they're doing things that I could not have even imagined them doing in order to squash the price of silver. So, I believe, like the rest of the silver stackers, that it's going to go through the roof eventually. But how many more tricks do they have up their sleeve? How many rabbits can they pull out of the hat before they finally have no more tricks and the price of gold and silver explode? So until that time, I'm going to do something that I can control in order to force my stack to get bigger, rather than waiting for some event to happen, and it's going to be a bad event. We're talking about an economic collapse, pretty much the end of the banking system before silver really hits its true value. So I'm going to use my fiat currency sitting here to go out, count cards, make more fiat currency, and then convert that into silver and gold. So if that interests you at all, I have several videos in which I explain the process of card counting. And I have a free tutorial up. I have a video where I show myself making over $1,000, I make $1,000 in less than an hour using card counting at low table limits, just to demonstrate the possibilities. And that's pretty much my story. So again, this is Mike from the Ultimate Guide to Chasing.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope there's a lesson to be learned there so that nobody else tries to do some of the foolish things that I do. And keep stacking. Okay, hope to see you in the next video.